Good afternoon. This is All India Radio. I'm Anuja Kumar and with me is Abhishek Mukhopadhyay with the Midday News. The headlines. Prime Minister Narendra Modi to dedicate second-generation ethanol plant to the nation at Panipat in Haryana this evening. JDU leader Nitish Kumar to be sworn in as Chief Minister of Bihar shortly. Polling underway for 186 panchayats in Goa. India calls for a united, coordinated and unified response to international terrorism at UNSC. Election Commission to host a virtual meet of the Asian Regional Forum in New Delhi tomorrow. World Biofuel Day and World Lion Day being observed today. US President Joe Biden endorses Finland and Sweden's accession to Nato. And 23 times Grand Slam champion Serena Williams announces retirement from professional tennis. And now the news in detail. Prime Minister Narendra Modi will dedicate to the nation the second-generation 2G ethanol plant at Panipat in Haryana through video conferencing today. It is part of a long series of steps taken by the government over the years to boost production and usage of biofuels in the country. It is in line with the Prime Minister's constant endeavour to transform the energy sector into being more affordable, accessible, efficient and sustainable. The 2G ethanol plant has been built at an estimated cost of over 900 crore rupees by the Indian Oil Corporation Limited. The project will turn a new chapter in India's waste-to-wealth endeavours by utilising about 2 lakh tons of rice straw or parali annually to generate around 3 crore litres of ethanol per annum. The project will also contribute to a reduction of greenhouse gases equivalent to about 3 lakh tons of carbon dioxide equivalent emissions per annum. Today is World Biofuel Day. It is observed to create awareness about the importance of non-fossil fuels as an alternative to conventional fossil fuels. This year the theme is Biofuels Towards a Carbon-Neutral World. This day also honours the research experiments by Sir Rudolf Diesel, who ran an engine with peanut oil in the year 1893. His research experiment had predicted that vegetable oil is going to replace fossil fuels in the next century to fuel different mechanical engines. Biofuels have the benefits of reducing import dependency on crude oil, cleaner environment, providing additional income to farmers and employment generation in rural areas. The government approved the National Policy on Biofuels 2018 in June 2018. The policy has the objective of reaching 20% ethanol blending and 5% biodiesel blending by the year 2030. Among other things, the policy expands the scope of feedstock for ethanol production and has provided for incentives for production of advanced biofuels. The biofuels program is also in synergy with the Government of India initiatives for Make in India, Swachh Bharat and enhancing farmers' income.
JDU leader Nitish Kumar will be shortly sworn in as the Chief Minister and RJD leader Tejasvi Yadav as Deputy Chief Minister of Bihar. The swearing-in ceremony is at Raj Bhavan in Patna. Governor Phagu Chauhan will administer oath to Nitish Kumar. This time Nitish Kumar will take oath as the Chief Minister of Bihar for the 8th time, while Tejasvi Yadav as Deputy Chief Minister for the 2nd time. Nitish Kumar met Governor Phagu Chauhan yesterday and staked the claim to form a new government in the state. Mr. Kumar was submitted a list of 164 MLAs belonging to 7 parties supporting him. These include RJD, Congress, Hindustani Awam Morcha, Left parties and 1 independent MLA. Mr. Kumar was unanimously elected as leader of the Grand Alliance comprising JDU, RJD and Congress at a joint meeting of these parties. The meeting took place after JDU snapped ties with the BJP-led NDA. Earlier, RJD, Congress and Left parties submitted letter of their support to Nitish Kumar to form a new government. The decision to leave the NDA was taken at JDU's legislature party chaired by Nitish Kumar yesterday morning. Jitan Ram Majhi-led Hindustani Awam Morcha, HAM, has also extended its support to Nitish Kumar unconditionally. Voting for all 186 panchayats in Goa started at 8 a.m. and will continue till 5 p.m. Polling is going on peacefully. 5,038 candidates are in the fray, while 64 candidates have been elected unopposed. Counting will take place on 12th August and 1,464 Panchayat members will be elected. Chief Minister Dr. Pramod Sawant voted at the Pale Kothambi. Speaking to media, CM said, Swaympurna Goa scheme is lauded by Prime Minister Narendra Modi, and other states of the country are endeavouring to adopt this model.
India has called for a united, coordinated and unified response to international terrorism. Speaking at the UNSC session on threats to international peace and security caused by terrorist acts, India's permanent representative to the United Nations, Ambassador Ruchira Kamboj, said that terrorist threats are on the rise globally. Ms. Ruchira Kamboj said that the members should refrain from labeling terrorism based on motivations, which will only allow opportunistic forces to provide justifications for certain terror activities based on their convenience.
The practice of placing holds and blocks on listing requests without giving any justification must end. It is most regrettable that genuine and evidence-based listing proposals pertaining to some of the most notorious terrorists in the world are being placed on hold. Double standards and continuing politicization have rendered the credibility of the sanctions regime at an all-time low. We do hope that all members of the Council can pronounce together in one voice sooner rather than later when it comes to this collective fight against international terrorism.
In the Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir, an encounter broke out between terrorists and security forces in Watarhal area of central Kashmir's Badgam district early today morning. The gun battle erupted after security forces were fired upon by terrorists who had laid a cordon and launched searches in the area following an intelligence input about the presence of terrorists in the area. Additional Director General of Police, Kashmir, Vijay Kumar, said that 3 terrorists of proscribed terror outfit, Lashkar-e-Toiba, TRF, are trapped in the ongoing encounter. The encounter was still underway when the last reports came in. Meanwhile, security forces have averted a major tragedy today by recovering an improvised explosive device weighing about 25 to 30 kilograms at Circular Road near Tahab Crossing in Pulwama district just days before the 75th Independence Day.
The Election Commission will be hosting a virtual meet of the Asian Regional Forum in New Delhi tomorrow. This regional forum will deliberate on the theme Making our Elections Inclusive, Accessible and Participative, and is a precursor to the Global Summit for Democracy to be hosted by the National Electoral Institute of Mexico in the coming month. The Global Summit and the Regional Forum meets aim at generating synergy amongst international organizations, electoral bodies from the world, and to promote intellectual and institutional mobilization to strengthen electoral democracy in the world. Chief Election Commissioner Rajiv Kumar and Election Commissioner Anup Chandra Pandey will preside over the Asian Regional Forum meet. It will have participation from election management bodies of Mexico, Mauritius, Philippines, Nepal, Uzbekistan, Maldives, and representatives from the Association of World Election Bodies and International Foundation for Electoral Systems. The first session is on inclusive elections, enhancing participation of youth, gender and citizens in remote areas, which will be co-chaired by the Chief Election Commissioner from Mauritius and Nepal. The second session will be on accessible elections, enhancing participation of persons with disabilities and senior citizens. World Lion Day has been observed globally today. The day aims to spread awareness about lions and the urgent need to strive for their conservation. In a tweet today, Environment, Forest and Climate Change Minister Bhupendra Yadav said that Asiatic lions population has shown a steady increase with an increase rate of nearly 29%. He highlighted that the distribution of the lions has increased from an area of 22,000 square kilometers in 2015 to 30,000 square kilometers in 2020. He described the several strategies and interventions have been implemented by the ministry to continue the upward trend of conservation. The Minister of Environment, Forest and Climate Change launched the Asiatic Lion Conservation Project with an aim to protect and conserve the world's largest ranging free population of Asiatic lion and its associated ecosystem. Asiatic lions that once ranged from Iran to the Palamau district of Jharkhand were almost driven to extinction by indiscriminate hunting and habitat loss.
President Draupadi Murmu has paid homage to former President Varahgiri Venkatgiri on his birth anniversary at Rashtrapati Bhavan today. Ms. Murmu paid floral tributes at the portrait of the late President at Rashtrapati Bhavan. Mr. V.V. Giri was the fourth President of India. Mr. Giri is fondly remembered for his contribution to the Indian freedom struggle and for voicing concerns about labour law and social equality. He was born in Odisha's Behrampur. Kerala Cabinet has decided to recommend to the Governor to convene a special session of the State Assembly exclusively for lawmaking. The decision to hold special session comes in the wake of the crisis arising out of the expiry of nearly a dozen ordinances. Governor Arif Muhammad Khan refused to assent. The session will last for 10 days. Chief Minister Pinarayi Vijayan termed the Governor's refusal to sign the ordinance unusual. Meanwhile, the Governor said he will examine if there was any emergency for re-promulgating the ordinances which lapsed for want of his approval by 8th of this month. Karnataka Chief Minister Basavaraj Bommai has informed that the state has surpassed the target set for implementing Jal Jeevan Mission that provides tap water in rural areas. Reviewing the progress made by different programs implemented by the Rural Development and Panchayat Department, the Chief Minister informed the media persons in Bengaluru today that the department has provided tap water connection to 21,81,557 rural households as against the target of 21,63,817 till 8th of August. He has assured that the beneficiaries of the Jal Jeevan Mission will get water in their taps and work will not be limited to just laying pipes in the households. He informed that the department officials have been asked to visit the sites 3 days in a week where works are going on under Jal Jeevan Mission and ensure that the tap water reaches the beneficiaries. Mr. Bommai added that the aspirational districts for the development sector, namely Raichur and Yadgir districts administration, have been asked to brace up and achieve the targets set for them.
The mortuary workers, street vendors, Anganwadi workers and Mudra scheme loanees have been invited as special guests for the Independence Day celebrations this year. Briefing media in New Delhi today, Defence Secretary Ajay Kumar said the NCC cadets from districts across the country dressed in the local attire will be seated in front of Red Fort in the formation of Map of India to showcase the cultural diversity of the country. He added that an indigenously designed gun for the ceremonial gun salute will be used during the 75th Independence Day celebrations this year. Mr. Kumar also said that an online invitation portal has been started this year. You are listening to the Midday News on All India Radio. A reminder of the headlines before we move on. Prime Minister Narendra Modi to dedicate second-generation ethanol plant to the nation at Panipat in Haryana this evening. JDU leader Nitish Kumar to be sworn in as the Chief Minister of Bihar shortly. Polling underway for 186 panchayats in Goa. India calls for a united, coordinated and unified response to the international terrorism at UNSC. Election Commission to host a virtual meet of the Asian Regional Forum in New Delhi tomorrow. World Biofuel Day and World Lion Day been observed today. US President Joe Biden endorses Finland and Sweden's accession to Nato. And 23 times Grand Slam champion Serena Williams announces retirement from professional tennis. For quick news updates around the clock, follow us on our Twitter handle @AIR News Alerts.
अगर आप कर रहे हैं कॉम्पिटिशन्स की तैयारी तो फिर आपके लिए है ऑल इंडिया रेडियो का कार्यक्रम अभ्यास। आपके भेजे प्रश्न हम व्हाट्सएप नंबर 9289094044 पर या abhyas.airnews@gmail.com पर रिसीव करते हैं और उसके उत्तर हमारे एक्सपर्ट सैटरडे रात 9:30 बजे देते हैं। इस बार का विषय है साइकोलॉजी और आपके सवाल का हम करेंगे इंतजार 10 अगस्त तक। आपका अभ्यास हमारा प्रयास।
आकाशवाणी आपके लिए लेकर आया है कार्यक्रम एक कदम और बुजुर्गों के लिए। 14 अगस्त को प्रसारित होने वाले हमारे कार्यक्रम का विषय है बुजुर्गों का खान पान। आप अपने सवाल हमें 11 अगस्त तक भेज सकते हैं। हमारा व्हाट्सएप नंबर है 9289094044। आप अपने सवाल हमें इस पते पर ईमेल भी कर सकते हैं एक कदम और airnews@gmail.com।
Welcome back to the Midday News on All India Radio. The Central Board of Indirect Taxes and Customs (CBIC) has asked airlines to mandatorily share passenger name record (PNR) details of all international passengers with the National Customs Targeting Centre passenger 24 hours prior to departure of flights. Airlines will have to mandatorily provide details of all international passengers to the Customs Department for preventing and prosecuting offences under the Customs Act 1962 as well as any other domestic or international law. Our correspondent quoting a notification issued by CBIC reports, every airline will have to transfer the passenger name record information from their reservation system to the database of the Customs Department for every international flight departing from India or arriving into the country. The Supreme Court today granted regular bail to activist Varavara Rao, an accused in the Bhima Koregaon case. He was given bail on medical grounds by a bench headed by Justice U. Lalit. The 83-year-old, who had challenged the Bombay High Court order rejecting his petition for a permanent medical bail, is currently on an interim bail on medical grounds. Rao was arrested on 28th of August 2018. He was charged under various sections of the Indian Penal Code and the Unlawful Activities Prevention Act. The Bhima Koregaon case relates to alleged inflammatory speeches made at the Elgar Parishad conclave held in Pune on 31st of December 2017, which the police claimed triggered violence the next day near the Koregaon Bhima War Memorial.
In Rajasthan, a new variety of hybrid millets, M817, developed at Mandore Agricultural University, is becoming very popular among farmers. The new variety is found to be rich in iron and zinc elements, which will also prove to be effective in ending malnutrition. This variety is capable of giving high yields, especially in drought-prone areas of western Rajasthan. Presently, it has been sown in more than 70% area in the Jodhpur district. The hybrid variety M817 was first sown on a large scale in the Dahikara village of Jodhpur district by more than 300 farmers. It has become popular all over Rajasthan and has been sown in most parts of the state. And now let's listen to a special program, Azadi Ka Safar, highlighting the importance of the day during the freedom struggle.
आजादी का अमृत महोत्सव।
Azadi Ka Safar with AIR News. Birth of a Nation.
India's glorious freedom struggle is one of the greatest struggles the modern world has ever witnessed. AIR News brings you a glimpse of the struggle every day.
In today's episode, we remember former President of India, Varahagiri Venkatagiri, who was born on the 10th of August, 1894. He worked in the interests of the working class against the imperialist British government. He was also the only trade union leader to have become the President of India.
I feel proud and honoured by the citizens of Delhi to be present here on this great and memorable occasion, the eve of our Independence Day. This is not the time, if I may say so, for making speeches, but it's the time for action. In the first instance, we should remember the great martyrs, our great leaders, our father of the nation, our ex-prime ministers, who have sacrificed their all for securing independence.
After early education at Behrampur and Madras, Giri went to Ireland in 1913 to join the King's Inn at Dublin. In Ireland, he came in close contact with leaders of the Irish resistance movement like Eamon de Valera, the long-serving Prime Minister of the mid-1900s. He met Mahatma Gandhi in 1914 when Gandhiji visited London, and Giri went to meet him as a young student.
On return, Giri enrolled himself in the Madras High Court, but left a lucrative practice and joined the freedom movement around 1920-21. He was first arrested in 1922 in connection with the picketing against auction of liquor shops.
Giri was the founder member of the All India Railway Men's Federation and attended the Second Roundtable Conference in London in 1931. He led the Bengal-Nagpur railway strike in 1927 and ultimately forced the British management and the government to negotiate with the workers in a landmark movement. Giri made history with his victory over the Raja of Bobili in 1937 in elections to the Madras Legislative Assembly.
After his victory, Giri joined the provincial government as Labour Minister under Rajaji. He was once again Labour Minister of Madras under T. Prakasham in 1947, but resigned that post to go as India's High Commissioner to Ceylon. Giri also served as Governor of UP, Kerala and Karnataka.
Giri became Vice President in 1967, and after the untimely death of President Zakir Hussain in 1969, he became the acting president. Giri served as President of India from 1969 to 1974. During this period, several sweeping changes took place at home and abroad.
Banks were nationalized. Privy purses to erstwhile princes of British India were withdrawn. East Pakistan became Bangladesh after more than 10 million refugees flooded India. V.V. Giri was awarded Bharat Ratna in 1975 for his public service. AIR News salutes the great nationalist.
We also remember freedom fighter Vinod Kinariwala, who died on the 10th of August 1942. Born on the 20th of September 1924 in district Ahmedabad, Gujarat, Kinariwala actively joined the Quit India movement that was launched on the 8th of August 1942.
When the students of Vinod Kinariwala's college in Ahmedabad gathered in its compound to raise anti-British slogans and give the Quit India call on the 10th of August 1942, the Assistant Superintendent of Police reached the place along with his police force and ordered firing on the students. Vinod Kinariwala was killed in the firing on the spot. AIR News salutes the brave martyr.
We pay tribute to martyr Kunar Singh, a resident of Jhansi, Uttar Pradesh, who led the forces in fighting against the British during the First War of Independence. He also provided financial support to the independence activists.
Kunar Singh was arrested by the British Army and put on trial on the charges of plundering, murder and instigating rebellion against the British. He was sentenced to be hanged by the neck till death on the 10th of August 1858. AIR News salutes the brave son of the soil.
That brings us to the end of this episode of Azadi Ka Safar with AIR News. See you in the next episode tomorrow.
अब हर घर की छत पर शान से फहरेगा तिरंगा, गुनगुनाए जाएंगे नव विकास के गीत, आन बान शान का प्रतीक राष्ट्रध्वज तिरंगा। आइए आजादी के अमृत महोत्सव के पावन अवसर पर इस स्वाधीनता दिवस हर घर फहराते हैं तिरंगा और लेते हैं भव्य और सशक्त भारत के निर्माण का संकल्प।
आइए हर घर फहराएं तिरंगा।
The World Health Organization yesterday decried increasing attacks on monkeys over fears of spread of monkeypox in Brazil. The WHO spokeswoman Margaret Harris reports what people need to know is that the transmission we are seeing is happening between humans. Ms. Harris's comments came after the Brazilian media reported that 10 monkeys had been poisoned in less than a week in São José do Rio Preto city in southeastern São Paulo state. Ms. Harris said, while the disease can spread from animals to humans, the recent outbreak is between humans only. She further said that people certainly should not attack the animals. Similar incidents were also reported in other cities, with people attacking monkeys by throwing stones or poisoning them, according to local media reports. According to WHO, Brazil has more than 1,700 cases of monkeypox. The monkeypox caused by monkeypox virus is transmitted from one person to another through droplets, contaminated objects, and close contact with an infected person. According to media reports, since May, nearly 90 countries have reported more than 29,000 monkeypox cases. The WHO classified the outbreak of the once rare disease as a global health emergency in July. News just in, JDU leader Nitish Kumar has been sworn in as the Chief Minister of Bihar. Governor Phagu Chauhan administered the oath of secrecy to Mr. Kumar a short while ago. RJD leader Tejasvi Yadav also took oath as the Deputy Chief Minister. Nitish Kumar took oath as the Chief Minister of Bihar for the 8th time, while Tejasvi Yadav as the Deputy Chief Minister for the 2nd time. Bangladesh Finance Minister AHM Mustafa Kamal has warned developing countries from taking loans through the Belt and Road Initiative BRI of China. In an interview to the Financial Times, Finance Minister Mustafa Kamal said, "The developing countries must think twice before taking BRI loans, keeping in mind global inflation and slowing growth which add to the indebted emerging economies." The minister also suggested that China evaluate the loans more rigorously as the poorer countries risk falling into debt trap due to wrong decisions about taking debt. In this context, he pointed out the case of Sri Lanka, whose economic crisis was exacerbated due to infrastructure projects funded by Chinese debt which failed to generate adequate returns. The statement comes in the backdrop of the visit of Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi to Dhaka last week.
In Kenya, preliminary results from the presidential election showed a tight race between the two main candidates vying to replace outgoing President Uhuru Kenyatta. The Kenyan Election Commission, the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission, posted images of more than 90% of the election result forms from a total of 46,663 polling stations. Meanwhile, for now, the Commission is only posting pictures, not numbers. Only 2 constituency-level results are available on the Commission's website. However, the final result from the IEBC is expected in days, although legally it has to be up to a week. According to media reports, the front-runners, Deputy President William Ruto and veteran opposition leader Raila Odinga were neck in neck with 1.2 million votes each. US President Joe Biden has signed documents endorsing Finland and Sweden's accession to Nato alliance. Celebrating the US decision to ratify both the countries, President Biden said the alliance is closer than ever, it is more united than ever, and after Finland and Sweden join, they will be stronger than ever. Sweden and Finland applied for NATO membership in response to Russia's military actions in Ukraine. Moscow has repeatedly warned both countries against joining the alliance. Last week, the Senate voted 95-1 to ratify the entrance of Finland and Sweden into the world's most powerful military alliance. Both Finland and Sweden already meet many of the requirements to be NATO members.
The United States has announced that it will provide $89 million to help clear landmines, improvised explosive devices, and unexploded ordnance. The U.S. State Department in a statement said Ukrainian teams already have cleared about 160,000 unexploded mines, ordnances, and other devices. According to media reports, the $89 million will be taken from both the State Department fiscal year 2022 budget as well as from a series of supplemental funding bills passed by Congress earlier this year. The Sensex and the Nifty today witnessed marginal losses in the afternoon trade. Both stock indices fell amid negative global cues. The Sensex was trading near 58,700 level, while the Nifty was trading below the 17,500 mark.
American tennis legend Serena Williams, the winner of 23 Grand Slam titles, has announced that she will retire from professional tennis. In an article for the Vogue magazine, the 40-year-old star described her intention to finish her playing career as an evolution away from tennis. She explained that one of her biggest reasons for retirement is the intention to further expand her family. Serena has now set her eyes on the US Open, which starts on the 29th of this month. It would be her last tournament.
And now, before we end the bulletin, the headlines once again. Prime Minister Narendra Modi to dedicate second-generation ethanol plant to the nation at Panipat in Haryana this evening. JDU leader Nitish Kumar takes oath as the Chief Minister of Bihar. Polling underway for 186 panchayats in Goa. India calls for a united, coordinated and unified response to international terrorism at UNSC. Election Commission to host a virtual meet of the Asian Regional Forum in New Delhi tomorrow. World Biofuel Day and World Lion Day being observed today. US President Joe Biden endorses Finland and Sweden's accession to Nato, and 23 times Grand Slam champion Serena Williams announces retirement from professional tennis. And with that, we end the Midday News.